How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday night, January 8th, 2025. About 9:45 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 3.4 in the green flag across the area of Greece area, it looks like. California is starting to light up a little bit. Also some larger movement out in Texas. Let's go ahead and start off here on the West Coast. Got some big-time fires still brewing up here in Los Angeles area. We'll cover that towards the end of this update video. Some suspicious new fires starting up out of the blue. Three-pointer. That is around the San Andreas Fault, the creeping segment here. Seeing an earthquake in the last within the last hour here. Little cluster going on here across this region. Nothing big going on here for now, but that's all California would need is a big earthquake along with the fires. That would be not a good thing, but very possible. Seems like disasters seem to come in sequences there. A couple smaller quakes on the Imperial Fault. Aside from that, generally small microquake activity out here today across the Southern California region. Up in the Northern Cal, a couple of earthquakes underneath the Lake Almanor area this morning. Way early this morning, just about after midnight. Early Wednesday morning, some twos stirring up, including a three-pointer. A little bit of elevated strain out here across the West Coast. Due to all this, well, there's strain obviously, but the elevated inland activity is a good sign of that. Some movement there across the Lake Almanor, Nevada area. One earthquake here across the Cascadia subduction zone, literally right on the plate boundary there, 2.7 on the Cascadia southern end. So let's go ahead and check out tremor map here tonight, see what we got for the Cascadia Tremor, which consists here of a little bit here. 68 epicenters. That would make sense here, since the elevated activity we're seeing there is mainly across Northern California inland here. So we're getting some surface adjustment there following the strain that's being applied out here across the plate boundary. 68 epicenters underneath this area, down into the subduction zone. They're about 35, 45 kilometers deep, literally due east here, but underneath this area. So that's applying further strain. Just a whole dynamic area. Seems like recently any type of tremor activity we get, in return we get elevated seismic activity around the area, and that looks to be the case here today. I know for a fact there's been more earthquakes up here than one. Why they're only reporting one earthquake, who knows? There's another one as I speak there on the Petrolia station, also the Dinsmore station. This is just a prime example of what I've been seeing here off and on throughout the day today. These seismograph stations here, Petrolia sits right about here, south of Eureka. Dinsmore a little bit further inland, away from the coast. But when we get earthquake activity, it shows up on both the seismograph stations there. That's normally above a 2.0 magnitude. So we'll see if they report that earthquake. I've seen that off and on throughout the day today, this exact type of setup here. Numerous of these ones, and we just haven't seen it showing up here. Nothing's being reported there from the USGS. We'll check back on that. That's a legit earthquake. You guys see it. Dinsmore, Petrolia, nothing showing up there on the map. We'll check back here in a few minutes, see if they actually report it, which I doubt they will. Let's see, Texas, 4.3 out here in the, well, they downgraded it. It was a 4.3. Downgrade to a 4.2 out in the oil fields there of Texas. Got quite a bit of earthquake activity out here recently. This is the western area of Texas. A lot of desert type of land out here. These are little pads, oil pads, and wastewater disposal ponds out here, I'm sure, across the area. Very close to this earthquake activity. There's one wastewater disposal pond. They inject this water back in. There's a whole process involved in it. I'm not going to go into it, but the oil fields are rocking and rolling there today with some earthquake activity, and that will be the future for those areas that have kind of poked holes out there in the earth and withdraw the natural substance there from the area. Not going to go into all that, but obviously there's a relation between earthquake activity and the oil boom out here. It's clear as day. Oklahoma, a little bit of activity further up north around the New Madrid seismic zone. Pretty quiet. Not a whole lot stirring up out there for now. So we'll take a look here at the, what we got down here? A little earthquake in the Drake Passage area. in an odd area. It looks like 5.3. I don't recall the last time we've seen a little earthquake in that specific zone, but it looks like historical data does show a boundary up here for earthquake activity historically, but this current earthquake that we've seen today off of that plate boundary. That's why I call it a little odd here, but you can see the plate boundary. It should cross right about here, but for some reason the USGS kind of just cut that off. But there it is, clear as day around that fracture zone. Nothing major going on here across the subduction zone of the South Sandwich Trench. A couple earthquakes up and down the Peru Chile Trench there. Nothing big. The Atlantic Ocean, some earthquakes from earlier this morning, 5-pointer and a 4.7. Ethiopia Rift boundary showing some further activity today. Hold on a second. I want to see if... Nah, this is 2147. That's not going to be the one-pointer. No way. 2147. Even though it matches it, 2147, it kind of matches the time frame here for that recent earthquake. But I don't believe a one-pointer would show up like that 60, 70 miles away. That's a little odd. I think there's some other earthquake activity showing up there. But they did add a small little one-pointer there across the area of Clear Lake Volcanic Field. All right, Ethiopia Rift boundary here. Take the long way around. Stirring back up here today, it looks like. Earlier this morning. And, well, technically afternoon time, it looks like a bunch of force stirring up across this area of the rift boundary. This has been a hot spot of earthquake activity here. And we're coming up over close to 100 earthquakes with a little bit of suspicious activity being observed there across the surface area in terms of fractures and also some jet streams there, kind of like a geyser type event, mud and water being shot off from the ground due to the obviously some heated areas below. I want to check out the seismograph station there real quick, see what we got. Not a whole lot of seismograph stations out there, but there is one in operation here that's just west of the rift boundary. Let's see what we got. There it is. There's a couple of those 4s. And, yeah, there's a number of earthquakes, and there's some smaller ones as well that haven't been reported. Those are probably 3-pointers. But things starting to stir back up out there, it looks like, across the rift boundary of Ethiopia. Definitely watch that. Hawaii area, not a whole lot happening there for now. New Zealand, quiet. What's going on down there across New Zealand? Not a whole lot of activity showing up there on the map for now. A little clustering going on there across Vanuatu. And typical clustering here across the Indonesia Islands, Philippines area. Area of interest is up here across the Nepal area where we had that 7-pointer here a couple days ago. Seen, and I mentioned this here in a couple of my update videos, that we're seeing a little increase in activity here across the northern area of here, Tibet, away from the plate boundary. But this makes sense here because this is where the general strain would be transferring to. So I'm not 100% certain that we're done out here in terms of larger scale activity. We'll have to watch that, but getting a little bit of further pressurization north here of our current activity down there across Mount Everest area where we had that big earthquake there, the largest of 2025 so far, 7.1. We'll continue to keep an eye on that area. Let's see here. I think that's about it for earthquake activity. Middle America Trench fairly active. One earthquake way up north here, it looks like, along the northern end of the Cascadia, 3.1. It doesn't look like they're reporting that in the USGS model, so that's going to be from the EMSC. But a little bit of activity stirring up out here today. Let's check out space weather activity. They have, guess what, folks? They've added back, and it didn't take them too long here. It took them just a little bit over a month to add back the SDO imagery. So now we can check out the complexity model here in the colored viewing of the sunspots. And it looks like the UV filter array here is picked up as well. A lot clearer image here of the sun from the SDO. The SDO site was down there at the Stanford University. They were offline for about a month and a week due to a flooding event there at the data servers at the SDO office. So I'm glad to see it back up and running. This gives me a fairly decent idea of the complexity of the sunspots. And looking at this area here, 3947, going through some type of morphing, some type of reorganization maybe, or just fading away. But there's still a little area back here that harbors some potential maybe for some further M-flare activity, but starting to stretch it out a little bit and dissipate in terms of complexity. Not a whole lot here. And man, I'm loving that though. It's a beautiful image. And I'm going to blow this up here just a little bit. Very nice looking. Nice magnetogram image here of the sun. Not a whole lot of complexity sunspots out here aside from this area. So that leaves us to somewhat of a minor threat here for X-flare. 15% chance. M-flare at 60. C-flare around 99% chance or so. No major auroras in the forecast there, folks, for now. As far as Storm Prediction Center goes and severe weather, not a whole lot expected. Some marginal, or not marginal, but some thunderstorm activity expected across Texas area next couple days. I did not mean to click on that one. And that's due to a low pressure system down here. Still expected to bring some snow. It's a little iffy. We're going to have to watch this. But this is, well, Thursday, early Friday morning. Could see some snow out there across the area of Texas, northern, I guess they would call that northern Texas or north central Texas, there around Dallas, Fort Worth area. A whole bunch of snow back behind that. Oklahoma, Arkansas. Those guys are, do I dare say lucky? Because I never get snow out here around where I live. And then after that, let's check out the pattern. A lot of colder air still settling over the majority of the country here. Got a little band of some warmer moisture coming in from Mexico up into Texas here next week. Bringing with it maybe some, I don't know if we're going to have severe weather or not, but some moisture. And man, this is not looking good here. There's a dominant high pressure system out here across Idaho area, the Great Basin region, that's just keeping the storm track way up north here from California. If we don't see any rainfall this month here for California, that's a little rare. January is actually our wettest month. And not a drop of rain. Not a drop of rain here. It's a little sketchy. And that's going to probably put us back in the drought. I noticed that my top layer of soil out here in around the Chico area is drying up. Obviously, it's still wetter moisture down below, but that's just not good. We need some rainfall out here. We got the drought starting to slip back in here. Southern California hasn't seen a drop of rain in probably about 8 or 9 months. And normally they get some rain during these winter storms, but you've seen what happened here. Top layer starting to stretch up here around Northern California as well. Deeper areas, not so much, but if we don't get any rain here in January, I guarantee you this is going to fill in for drought. Moisture anomaly, still a little wet here in the Sacramento Valley where I'm at. As far as the deeper moisture goes, up at the surface level, not so much. We're drying out. Take a look at Southern California. No joke there. They a little scary. So let's check out fires here real quick. We'll cover that. Been watching this off and on, looking at some heartbreaking images out here across Southern California, and some new fires starting up out of the smoke, so to speak. The newest one up around the Hollywood Hills area, a sunset fire that shows 60 acres, no containment. There's a view of it. It looks like there on fire. I don't know if it hit the Hollywood sign up here or not, but yeah, it's definitely scary, but also a little suspicious. I get it. There's been a lot of winds, but it seems like all these fires just starting up out of the blue for absolutely no reason. Obviously, power lines do go down from the winds, but if you look at where these fires started here, it's like out in the middle of nowhere. The biggest one so far is going to be this fire here outside of Malibu, north of Santa Monica. We're over this now. This was from earlier this morning, 15,000 acres. So tomorrow we'll probably update. But this is all starting to stretch out further west around Malibu. I ate at what's it called? The Real Inn. It was a seafood restaurant down there across the Malibu area here a few months back off the Highway 1. And unfortunately, I heard that did not make it, along with several other businesses and a massive amount of homes as well that got burnt out there from this fire. And that is currently at 15,832 acres with 0% containment. Nothing. No containment line whatsoever here. A live look at that camera. This is just one area. I don't even know if it's online or not. I'm sure a lot of people are... It figures. As soon as it popped up here, I clicked the back button. But still some hot spots. And that's going to continue to burn, even though the wind has died down slightly. It doesn't look as windy, but still, it's crazy looking. It looks like, the world's on fire. And for them, it is on fire down there. Excuse me. So we got that one, the biggest one, and then we got the Eaton fire over here as well. That's at 0% containment. A look at that area. Let's see what we got for this camera. It still shows pretty active conditions there. And that's burning, kind of up in the hills here above the Pasadena area. Continuing to track westward. Lydia fire up here. That looks like an older one. That's, let me see. 40% containment with that. The Hearst fire that started there yesterday as well, 10% containment with that, 855 acres. And it's almost, encircling this area. Hopefully no more starts up. The wind has died down. Let's give a quick glance here at the wind conditions out there. See what we got here for the forecast. Still somewhat elevated here across the higher terrain above Los Angeles, 40-mile-per-hour gust. I think that's why we're seeing this fire flaring up a little bit more outside of Pasadena than the Malibu area. But they still got some decent offshore winds there. And as we go through the evening, say early morning, Thursday morning, it looks like it dies off a little bit, but still somewhat elevated here across the higher peaks. Day on tomorrow, well, man, it looks like it kicks back up here across this area. For Friday, hopefully it goes away here. But there's no rain in the forecast, unfortunately, folks. I wish I could say that there's a decent storm coming, but I actually mowed the yard here today, and I don't think I've ever done that in January. January 8th, it almost feels, well, we hit about 68 degrees. Tomorrow's supposed to be 70. That is not normal for us up here. We're supposed to have cool, wet weather. This is our rainy season, and January is our rainiest month. Not a drop of rain, folks. Big time pattern blocking taking place here. Go back here, regions, North America. We can check out the patterns here real quick. Yeah, look at that massive high pressure system. That is not cool. That's something that you normally see in the summertime out here. And it's not going anywhere. Just sitting there, reorganizing. Maybe, well, this is a GEPS model showing maybe some lower pressure, colder air coming down, but that doesn't mean that we're going to get moisture out here. That's just cooler than normal temperatures out there. But look at that high pressure. Gulf of Alaska is just permanently sitting out there, it looks like. Not good. I'm just glad December was, a decent month for us in terms of rainfall. We got quite a bit in a short amount of time period. But yeah, January we should have had more by now. Yeah, and that earthquake I mentioned, yeah, just not there. I know it's not this one pointer. There's no way a one pointer is going to show up like that 60, 70 miles away on this station up here. So that's just what I've been saying. And there's a couple more up there as well. So there's earthquake activity showing up on Petrolia. Also, China Lake's been picking up a number of earthquakes as well. And voila, nothing being reported. That's Main reason why I run these live seismograph stations to see when things are increasing out here. And right now the West Coast is definitely increasing, but it's not showing it on the map aside from a couple earthquakes and inland as well. But there's more to that up and down the plate boundary. So we'll watch California. Again, that's all we need is a big earthquake out here. And with the fires, that would be that would be I mean, these fires are unprecedented themselves, something that they've never seen down there. I don't think this large, but to put a big earthquake on top of that, that would be not good. All right, folks, I'm tired. I'm out of here. Been just watching all the news here recently on the fires, and it's draining out here. It doesn't matter if it's $100,000 home or multi-million-dollar homes that are burning up. These are people's lives, and it's life-changing. There's a lot of history down here, a lot of beautiful areas too. I was just down there a couple months back investigating earthquake swarm out there around the Malibu Coast Fault. Beautiful areas. Yes, a lot of rich people, but what does that have to do with me? I was down there to investigate earthquake activity and landslides, and it just sucks for those people to have to lose everything like that. All right, folks, have a good one. We'll catch you guys back out here for the Thursday morning update.